Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Bounce. I am the Grasshoppers class teacher. Nice to meet you, albeit I wish we could be meeting in person or at least meeting on a live video call, but as it happens we have to go for a pre-recorded one. So I've got a presentation here that I'm going to go through. Usually I would stop the recording at the end and then we could you could ask any questions, but I will talk later on about how we can do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the video camera. It has two advantages. Number one is you should now see the presentation full screen, and the other advantage is you don't have to look at my face anymore. So let's go for that. So there's Mr. Bounds, that's me. So I'm Grasshoppers class teacher. So we Grasshoppers are half year ones, half year twos. And we've got Miss Bogan Monroe, who works in our class on Wednesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. Mrs. Brailsford, who works with us on Tuesday afternoons and also works with the other year one class, the Rabbits, quite a lot. Mrs. Molyneux, who works with our class on a Thursday afternoon, and Multiflex, who teach PE on a Wednesday afternoon. So we've got a timetable coming up on the next screen. This is a sort of typical week. Doesn't necessarily mean we always have exactly this. But what we do always have, and the bit that you probably need to be aware of more than anything else, is the PE, which is on Wednesdays and Fridays. So make sure your child comes in on a Wednesday wearing their PE kit and a Friday wearing their PE kit, and we will send them home wearing their PE kit as well. So we don't have to waste time getting changed. Means we get longer to do PE. Please bear in mind, though, that unless it's raining, we tend to go outside whenever we can for PE. So obviously at the moment it's mostly quite sunny and warm, so shorts and t-shirts are all fine, but just watch out as the weather gets a bit colder. You might want to make sure that your child has got a jumper or something like that, or longer trousers or tracky trousers or something, to make sure they're not getting too cold while we're doing the PE. The other parts on there, I'm going to talk about most of those in a bit more detail as we go along. You see we've got phonics every day, first thing. We've got English and maths most days is in the mornings, and other subjects which I'll also talk about later on as we go along. Okay, break times. Milk is available. You have to pay for it now, I'm afraid. So if you're interested in getting your child a drink of milk for them to drink at break times, then you need to go and visit the Cool Milk website and register on there. And you can do that. I know there's been a couple of little teething problems with it, getting it up and running at the beginning of this term, but hopefully those are all sorted now. Okay, so you'll be familiar with Class Dojo. It's what we use in school as a kind of a reward system. The children can get dojos for all kinds of things to do with their work, to do with their behavior, and to do with their, the way they're joining in, the way they're treating each other, have good manners, all kinds of different things. Okay, and you will probably know by now that you can see what they are, what they're getting dojos for and when they are getting them by linking your account to your child's account. You will have had a piece of paper come home a couple of days ago, which explains how to do that. If you have had any problems doing that, then please come and see me and I can help you with that. But it looks like from what I can see, it looks like most of you have managed to link your accounts okay. No problem with that. The traffic light system is in use in every class in the school. So what it is everybody starts the day on the green traffic light, which is a big green circle on the wall, and we aim for everybody to stay there. And if for whatever reason one of the children their behavior is not quite up to standard, or they're not following the rules, then they will get a warning. And then if they persist with that behavior, then they could be moved on to the yellow. If it's something more serious, they might get moved further down. There's always the opportunity, if somebody has been moved onto the yellow, to sort of show with the rest of the day to show that they can get themselves back up on the green. So, and that's what we hope for the children to be able to do. You get a dojo point if you end the day on green. So, usually if somebody's been moved onto the yellow, it will be for something fairly, something that I've dealt with in school, and I won't be speaking to your parents about it. Uh, if it's something more serious, then I might come and speak to you about it. But if it gets home to you that your child's been moved onto the yellow and something like that, and I haven't come to speak to you about it, then just trust me that it's something I've dealt with in school and isn't that serious and isn't anything for you to worry about. If there is anything more serious, then I will speak to you. So having had 2 consecutive years of where schools have been interrupted by COVID, we're still very much mindful of children's well-being. Is very, very important to everyone here at Wincham. So we've got a lot of things in place that support that. We're still doing exercises every morning. As soon as we've done the register, we get up, we move around, we have a bit of fun. We often that's like a dance video or a sort of exercise video of some kind. Sometimes it's a yoga video, all kinds of different things that the children really, really enjoy. We also do lots of learning about how to stay safe in our Heart Smart lessons or in our PSHCE lessons. We learn about the importance of washing hands, the importance of staying healthy and exercise and mental health and physical health in Heart Smart as well. That the importance of having love for yourself, having love for other people, being kind to yourself, being kind to other people. Also, with having come back to school this September, and we've had for the first time in a while, and for some children the first time ever in their school careers, that the classes are able to mix on the playground, or at least they were until today, and hopefully they will be again soon. So we are teaching the children some break time games to help improve their social skills and their ability to make friends and play with each other in a kind way. But as always, we're adaptive and responsive. So we're watching the children. I'm watching the children all the time, watching them in class to see how are they. You can sense sometimes how they're feeling and whether they've got some energy left or they're looking a bit drained. So that's how I adapt and the timetable to respond to what the children need there and then. So if I can see that everybody's looking a bit tired, for example, we might go outside and have a little bit of a break. I won't necessarily be teaching something that I might have planned for that afternoon if I can see that the children aren't really gonna be up for it. Okay, so on to our first topic of the year, which we've started already. It's called What Was Life Like for My Grandparents When They Were My Age? We're looking for particular aspects of that, which are what was life like at home? What kind of food did they eat? What was school like and how was it? The same or different from how it is now? And what kind of toys and games did the grandparents play with, or what was around in the past? So you will have already had a letter, which is for your child to send to a grandparent or some grandparents if you have more than one, asking them questions about this kind of thing. And not only is that good because it engenders sort of understanding between the history, direct history from your family, but also hopefully it will help strengthen the bonds between those older members of your family and your children, and to help them gain a bit of an understanding and learn about their grandparents' life. Probably not questions that the children would typically ask their grandparents. If you don't have a grandparent in your family who's around to answer those questions, no problem. If you have somebody, maybe an old elderly neighbor or just a friend of the family or something like that, who you could ask those questions to, that would be fine. And if you don't have any of those, don't worry about it that much. We've got plenty. We'll have plenty of responses from the class. I am sure that we will be able to learn a lot about those 4 aspects of those. Usually, we might be looking to go to the Warrington Museum on a school trip because, as you can see in that photo there, they've got a wonderful collection of toys from the recent past, toys from when I was a kid, from the slightly more distant past, or toys from a very, very long time ago, and Victorian toys and things like that. And the children get to go there, they get to look at these toys, they get to handle some of these toys, they get to make their versions of some of these toys as well. We're not going to go to the museum, but the museum staff are coming to us. That's happening at the start of October. I will be sending a letter home fairly soon to you about that. I guess the big advantage of them coming to us is the price. We don't have to pay for a coach. So you'll be hearing more about that very soon. We might, depending on what happens with COVID, we are hoping to have, a food day as well, where we might have, people coming in and helping us to cook some of the food from the old days, mashed potatoes and jam roly-poly, all that kind of stuff. I'll keep you posted on that as well, of course. As always, our curriculum is strongly based around the global goals, which is a UN strategy for helping create a better future and a better planet for everybody. This particular topic, we are looking at good health and well-being and infrastructure and sustainable communities. During the year and during your child's time at Wincham, they're going to cover all of these things several times. And it's all just trying to raise awareness about not just looking after ourselves, but also looking after our community. And that might mean our local community or our national community or our international community. There's a sample there. It's by no means all, but a sample of some of the books that we're going to be reading together this year. We're doing Lost in the Toy Museum. We've just started that because it's relevant to, it's got old toys in a museum, so it couldn't be more relevant really to our topic. What we try and do is to find books that are really going to engage the children, interesting books with interesting art and covering interesting subjects, with good characters, bit of humor, nice colourful artwork wherever we can find it. That way, the children, it will not only develop a love of books and a love of reading in the children, but also they'll be interested in it. They'll have a good understanding of the stories and the characters, which will make them find it easier to want to write. Useful as a prompt for writing. If they're interested and engaged in this story or what we're doing, then they will be more willing to write and more confident writing. Talking of confidence in writing, a big part of Key Stage 1, which is year 1 and year 2, is handwriting. And what we do with the children is, with the year 1 children, as they come in, we're teaching them all the letters in the lowercase letters, one letter at a time. We're teaching them in the sort of precursive style. So we're not joining them, the writing, but we're getting them ready to join their writing when they move up to year 3. So each letter, you need to start it at the bottom left and sort of finish it on the bottom right in most cases, so that once you form these letters in the right way, then it's the step to joining them is really very, very, very straightforward once you are forming all these letters in the right way. So in our handwriting sessions, I teach each letter, one letter at a time, not in alphabetical order. We teach them in groups. So, for example, we start with C, and then we go on to all the other letters that are based on that C shape, like A and O and G and Q and a couple of others. And they're all in sort of groups based on their shape. So I'll keep you posted on the termly newsletters on which letters we are practicing. Usually the year 1s get on board with this very, very quickly and are usually very enthusiastic about it and will want to show you at home which letters they are learning. The key thing is, if you're trying to help them with it, is just make sure they're starting at their bottom left. If they're starting at the bottom left, then they're doing the letter correctly. For the year 2s, they've already learnt all these letters. That doesn't mean necessarily that they're confident in using them all the time. Some are, some aren't. But where we're going with that is just refining that practice. So again, when they are leaving year 2, they are ready to start joining their writing, and they're confident. So not only is it learning how to join some of those letters which join in sort of slightly unusual ways, like the R and the V and the W, but also it's making sure that those letters are of the appropriate size. So you've got your letters like your B's, your D's, your H's, your K's, and your L's and T's, which are what are called ascender letters because they are written tall on the page. You've got your G, P, Q, Y, and those kind of letters, which are, and then J, which are descender letters. So they have a tail which goes down below the line, or we call them monkey letters in class sometimes. The ascenders, the tall ones being giraffe letters. And then you've got all the other letters of the alphabet, the A, C, the E, the R, the N, and the M, and those ones, which are just sort of half the size of the lines that you're writing at, ideally. That's what we're aiming for. So we call those tortoise letters because they stay down low. But so that's where we're going, really, is trying to really perfect that sizing of the letters and the formation of the letters. Any questions about any of this, just come and ask me. You may have noticed that a couple of days ago, you got a couple of reading books sent home. Those are Read Write Inc. reading books. Since Christmas, we've been doing, since schools reopened in the spring, we've been doing our phonics in a slightly different way across the school. Instead of using letters and sounds, which is a scheme for teaching phonics, we're using Read Write Inc. What happens with Read Write Inc. is that you also get reading books with that, which we've started sending home this week. So I'll talk a little bit more about the phonics later on. But with the reading books, each one of those pairs of reading books is very accurately sort of pitched at exactly where your child is with their phonics. Every half term, we assess where the children are with their phonics, and if necessary, move them around between the book bands. And we make sure that everybody is getting books sent home which are going to support exactly where they are on their learning journey with their phonics. The same happens with Bug Club. Again, the books are targeted at exactly the level that your children are working at. What you want to do with those is read those books, possibly, certainly more than once, so the children are fairly familiar with them. The more they read them, the more confident they will get. But obviously, at some point, they're going to get bored of reading the same books over and over again. So don't just keep on making them read it when you get to that point. The books will be sent out on a Wednesday. I need you to bring them back on a Tuesday. And then that means that after school on a Tuesday, I can get all the books ready to give them back out on a Wednesday for you. Please bring both books back on a Tuesday. If I don't get both books back on a Tuesday, you won't be getting your new books on a Wednesday. Sorry about that, but that's the way it's going to have to work. At the moment, we're going to send home 2 books for every kid. It's new. We're just getting up and running with this. We'll see how that goes. We might find that 2 books is not enough, so we might start sending home more than 2 books. But we'll keep you in the loop on that. But if you suddenly start getting more books, that just means that we've decided to up the amount of books you're getting. Okay. Any questions about that? Again, come and see me. But please make sure the books come back on a Tuesday. Okay. On to the next slide, which is also about reading. So here's how we do reading in Key Stage 1. We do a whole class reading activity every day. And at the moment, that will be mostly that we are going to read a book, read a couple of pages each day, and then sort of do reading comprehension activities to help the children gain better understanding of those books. Sometimes it might not be that. Sometimes it might just be me reading a story to the children. Again, the idea behind that is to encourage a love of stories, to encourage a love of reading in the children. When we're free to do that, I might be asking for some adult volunteers who might want to come in and read with the children. So get in touch if you're available to do that. It would usually be at the end of the day for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The Read Write Inc. books I've already mentioned. Bug Club, I'm going to come on to that in a minute. You will have had a Bug Club login sent home Year twos, your login is the same as it always has been. Year ones, you've got brand new ones because you've not had Bug Club before. So I'll talk to you about that in a moment. Recommended about 20 minutes reading at home each night, wherever possible. But of course, I've got children myself. I know that sometimes you might have swimming lessons or whatever you've got going on. There's no point forcing a child to read when they're really, really exhausted, and it's just going to cause stress to both you and them. So I understand. I'm not expecting 20 minutes. You have to follow that religiously every night. That's I'm not suggesting that for 1 minute. 20 minutes would be ideal whenever you can. Obviously, real life gets in the way sometimes, and that's fine. We've got a library in school. The children are allowed to borrow books from the library. They're allowed to go at break times. All they need to do is ask me if they want to go and borrow books from the library. And of course, as always, we encourage the use of our fantastic Cheshire West public libraries. Next slide, please. Right, Bug Club. So Bug Club is an online reading platform where, again, I've assigned books to your children exactly the level where they're working at with their phonics. Some children really love the online reading. The big advantage of it is that it's got really good targeted questions about the text. So what we tend to find with children of this age is they're getting better and better at decoding. Decoding is the skill that you need in reading, where you're just using your letters and sound and using your phonics to work out what each word says. But often at this age, they're concentrating so hard on the decoding that they're not really taking in what's actually going on in the book. And that's fine, because they're still learning to read. But as they get older and older and older, we want to encourage them to think about and to take in and to absorb the meaning of the words that they're reading more and more and more. Bug Club is really good for that. It makes them go back to the text and answer questions. And also, it's fun for the children. The more when you finish a book and you've answered all the questions in the book, you get a load of points, which you can then use to play games on the website. You can use it to customize your cars and do race car games and customize different characters, buy clothes for your characters, all that kind of stuff. For the year ones, they've also got the option of clicking on a read to me button, which will then a voice will read aloud those pages. The year twos, most of your books won't have that anymore, because I think the children they don't really need that anymore. I would just say for the year ones, use that now and again, but don't just let the children just be read to from the page all the time, because that's not really encouraging to learn to read themselves. So they can use that, but use it fairly sparingly, I would advise. Okay, that's just about your website. The website to go to, www.activelearnprimary.co.uk. Word of advice for technical things. In the past we found that people who are using tablets and the like, it tends to work better on Chrome. If you use Chrome as a browser, so particularly if you've got an Apple device, Chrome is obviously free and you can download it, and it tends to work better on that than Safari. Again, you might have a few teething problems with it. If you have a laptop or anything that has internet access, you should be able to do that. Generally speaking, a phone wouldn't be great because the screen is too small. The children are going to struggle to read it on a phone. But again, whatever you've got available. Okay. So when you get to there, the books that have been assigned to your children will be in a tab at the top which says My Stuff. And then once they've read the whole book, it's still there, but it goes into My Library. And there's all kinds of stuff that the children can do to personalize their homepage, and, as I say, get those points in your coins in your treasure chest, and then you can customize things however you like. Okay, so phonics, I mentioned that before. We do phonics first thing every morning. Normally, children can move around. They're not necessarily, just because they're in the Grasshoppers class, does not mean they're necessarily going to be with me for phonics. We're grouped in different groups, so they might be going to a different teacher for phonics, depending on what level they're kind of working at. There's an assessment for phonics. Usually, all year one children have a compulsory year one phonics screening that they take in June. Last June, it wasn't done because of the COVID closures in springtime. So those year one children, who are now the year two children, will be taking that phonics screen after October half term. So sometime between end of October and December, they will be taking that phonics screen, which I will be doing with them. Even though we weren't supposed to do one, well, we didn't have to do one. I did one anyway with all the year one children, and there isn't any particular need for any of you year two parents to be concerned about this phonics screening. All your children should pass it, no problem. If there's particular sounds that they're struggling with, I might send a couple of flashcards home for you to practice those cards with at home. But most of you year two parents are fine with that. You don't need to worry about that too much. Year one parents, as far as we know, hopefully will be open all year long, and the year one phonics screening will go ahead in June of 2022. Later on in the year, it probably won't be up till December kind of time. Once we've learnt all the sounds that are in the set 2 and set 3 sounds, all the new sounds that the children are learning in year 2. If there's particular ones that your children are struggling with, I may again send home some flashcards for you to practice at home, to practice those sounds. Okay, the phonics screening itself is a mixture of real words and alien words. There's 20 real words, 20 alien words. Alien words you can see on the bottom left of the screen there. They are made up words that follow the rules of phonics. So that top one, phobe, the children would learn that the O and the E together is something called a split digraph. And though that O and the E, with the E always at the end of the word, makes the long vowel sound O. So therefore that says thobe and not thob. Okay. Spelling words. I'll talk a bit about Spelling Shed in a minute, which is another thing we have to support spelling. But the year one and two common exception words are good things for you to practice at all times, because there's some tricky ones in there. They are words that don't follow the phonics rules that the children are taught in phonics, or don't particularly follow what we might call the normal sort of rules of spelling. That's why they're called exception words. They're exception to the rules. So if you're looking for something else to practice with your spelling, then those words for year ones or year twos always useful for a bit of practice. Okay. Oops, missed a slide there. Spelling Shed is another website. Each week on a Friday, I'm going to be talking in a minute about homework, but each week on a Friday, I set some homework, and one of the activities is Spelling Shed. We do a spelling rule of the week each week. There's one for the year ones and one for the year twos, and I will try as best I can to set that spelling rule to be the same homework. We will then practice that spelling rule in the homework on Spelling Shed. Some of the spelling rules are paired together on Spelling Shed. So what you might some weeks there might be two spelling rules, one which we've done and one which we haven't done yet, but with a little bit of support, and your child should be able to do that. The Spelling Shed is interesting because the website has like a league table where all the different classes in our school get to kind of compete to see who's top of the league. So we're trying to encourage the children to want to move up that league table. Okay, maths, as I mentioned before, showed you the timetable before. It's taught every day. Those are the elements that we cover throughout the whole year. The key one being the number system and place value. We don't really do much work with, well, hardly any work really, with numbers above 100. The key stage 1 is really all about 2-digit numbers. Typically in reception, the children will have done a lot of work with the numbers 1 to 20. Key stage 1, year 1 and 2 are all about getting really, really familiar and really, really fluent at being able to work with all the numbers from 1 to 99. So you understand and have a really, really good understanding that when you see the number 26, for example, that you understand that the 2 in that number is signifying 2 tens, 20, and the 6 in that number is signifying 6 ones, 6. and that you will be able to, knowing that, you will then be able to easily, quickly be able to work out things like, well, what is one more? What is one less? What is 10 more? What is 10 less? And recognizing that when you do 10 more, 10 less, the units stay the same because you're just adding a 10 or taking away a 10. Okay, and in using that, then we build on that to look at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and also through that with money, time, all those other things. If you get any opportunity to practice with the children, starting off with o'clocks and half pasts. So if you have an analog clock in your home, any support from home is always very welcome with that particular aspect of maths, because it can be one that young children find very challenging, which is, learning first of all your o'clocks, and second of all your half pasts, and then moving on from that, the quarter past and the quarter twos. And then once they're familiar with that, you can move on to the 5 past, 10 past, 20 past, 25 past, to the nearest 5 minutes. But don't go all in with those nearest 5 minute stuff until they're absolutely secure with the stuff. You need to do it in steps if you want to have a go at that. Okay, might take a bit of time for you to learn time. Okay, so I mentioned before about homework. Every Friday on Google Classroom, there'll be a post from me with some homework, with some links in it. It will have a link to Bug Club, it will have a link to Numbots, and it will have a link to Spelling Shed. And then there'll be a little blurb from me explaining what to do on each of those. And then there's usually an additional activity, which will almost always be a maths activity and will always be very strongly linked to what we've been covering in class that week. So it shouldn't be anything new that your child should find that challenging or difficult. It should be just recapping skills that we've been practicing in school that week. There is no obligation for you to print anything off or send anything in to me. All you need to do is add a comment underneath, just to say that you've done it. It doesn't have to be a long comment. You could just put the word done if you like, just to let me know that you have seen it and that you have had a go at it. If you are finding that some aspects of it you're really struggling with, then come and have a word with me, and we'll see what we can do. Okay. So I mentioned PE before. I don't think I've really got much else to say about that other than the days are Wednesday and Friday, and to make sure you've got the PE kit in school. There's the other subjects that we teach in school: computing, science, RE with Mrs. Brailsford, music, PSHCE, which is taught by myself and Mrs. Molyneux. Okay. As always in school, every half term we have a No Outsiders afternoon. No Outsiders is a age-appropriate way of teaching the Equalities Act, and we've got some really good picture books that we use for that, for children to be able to basically gain an understanding that everyone is different, but everyone belongs, and everyone everyone is welcome here at Wincham. There are no outsiders. Okay, a Pupil Premium is if you are any of those bullet points on there, if you think you might qualify for any of those, then you would be eligible to have free school meals. So if you want to speak to me or speak to the office or speak to Mr. Boot, if you think you may be eligible, and we can help you with that. The advantage of that, as well as you getting the free school meals, of course, is that also generates additional funding for the school. But if you want to speak to me or the office about that, we can help you with that. Okay, if you've not already done so, maybe download the School Spider app. Our school website runs on School Spider, and it's a free app, and it will help you. You'll get messages from school. If you have any spare time and you would like to volunteer, a very important part of our school is the Wincham Family and Friends, which is our parents' association. They're a lovely bunch. They also are very, very helpful in raising funds for our school. They have a Facebook page, which is listed there. So go and like the Facebook page. If you want to get involved, they're like I say, they're a lovely bunch of people. They're very welcoming, and they're always looking for more helpers and volunteers. There's my email address there, grasshoppers@winchamcp.cheshire.sch.uk. I'll check that. That's a good way of getting in contact with me. The best way of getting in contact with me is to see me before school or after school, because obviously then we can deal with things face to face. Please bear in mind that before school, if it's something you want to talk to me, which might take a while, and it's probably best to speak to me in the morning, and we'll arrange to speak after school, because in the mornings I've obviously got the children coming into school, and I need to be looking after them. But a quick word in the morning is great. Otherwise, I'm always around after school, even if it's not me seeing the children out. I will be in the building somewhere. So if you need to speak to me, please do that. Don't bottle anything up. I'd really like to speak to you, and if you have any questions, then great. A little bit there about COVID. Please keep in touch. We have the newsletters and we have emails going out all the time about it is a changing picture. It seems to be a changing picture all the time about what the rules on COVID are. So please keep on track with that. But basically the idea is, if your child has any symptoms, get tested, and follow the guidelines, follow the government guidelines on all that. This is usually the interesting bit where I pause the video, we stop recording, and all those questions that have come up during that presentation, you get to ask me. But obviously you can't, because this is pre-recorded. So please, if you have any questions, just you know where I am. Please come and see me. I'm not scary. I'm a nice, friendly man, and I'd like to see you. And just come and ask me anything you need to ask me. Okay, hopefully I've answered lots of your questions in that. But like I say, come and see me anytime you need to, or email me if it's something you want to put in writing. Okay, right. Thank you for listening. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I don't know how long I've been recording, but I'm going to stop recording now. Bye-bye.